on the board. That's just the type of team that they are. So Carolina's got to be ready for that. I think they will be, though. And then, as you mentioned, getting a couple of shots from the outside is important. They were just 1 of 9 in the game against Texas. And again, look, we want to see the ball inside. Trust me. We are guys that have been really pushing that all season. But at the same time, with the struggles that you're having at the free throw line when you get inside, teams are going to just foul you and find a way to put you on the free throw line, see if you can't make shots. So I think one of the big things is in order to put up the points that you want to put up in this game, you have got to be able to knock down a couple of outside shots, be a little more efficient from deep. And I think they've got the capability to do that. And then the other big thing that they've got to do is you've got to keep some of your veteran guys out of foul trouble. It's going to be physical. Garrison Brooks is a guy that I think, again, we look at some of the other guys that have been out there, Walker Kessler, Dayron Sharp, Armando Baycott, a lot of talent, but at the same time, not quite the experience and not quite the defenders that the defender that Garrison Brooks is. It's important for the rest of the guys, but mainly for Garrison to be able to stay on the floor because you feel like Garrison gives you the best chance to slow down Luka Garza. So that'll be a real key to, for Carolina in this one. But, I think you're right. Not only does the team as a whole have to play their best game of the season, I think a lot of the other guys that are on the team have to play their best game of the season. The major role players, Leaky Black has to play his best game of the season. R.J. Davis has to play his best game of the season. Caleb Love needs to play his best game of the season. And even some of the guys off the bench you're going to have to see play big roles in this game. And if they do, Carolina definitely has the recipe to pull the upset against Iowa. And again, the other thing is that you got to look at it this way. Iowa is a team that could come out, start slow as well. They've been off for a little bit. They're a team that's had to go through a pandemic-ridden off-season as well. So they may not, it's not a guarantee that they're going to come out and just, put up points right out of the gate. Garza is going to dominate whatever. But you got to prepare for the potential that could happen to you.
Yeah, I think this game's going to be very competitive. I think Carolina will compete. I think it's stress to say that. And look, I'm not going to come on here and cheer about losing, and I'm not one to believe in moral victories. But if Carolina goes up there and loses, it's not the end of the world. They've lost the last 2 times they've played in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Last year at Ohio State. The year before that, they lost at Michigan. The national title team in 2017 lost at Indiana that year in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. So as big as this game is, and it's a really good measurement for where Carolina is, if they lose, it's not the end of the world. But also, on the flip side, I'm not going to be surprised if Carolina goes up there and wins. This has the feeling of a game that Roy Williams goes and wins because everyone's not going to give them really a chance to win because they're so young, they're so inexperienced. Well, that happened back in 2014 when they went to Michigan State, be the number 1 team in the country, led by Kennedy Meeks and Marcus Page. So, it has this kind of feel where they got some confidence in themselves. In Asheville, even though they went 2-1, so they feel a little bit better about who they are. They're starting to figure out what they can and cannot do, and so I do think they're going to find a way to win the game. I don't know, and it's going to be a combination of everything we've talked about. I think it's going to be because they're going to take care of the ball a little bit better. I think your young guys will make some big shots because they're going to have to, and being in a empty gym will help them with that. I think they'll be more efficient at the foul line because, frankly, if it gets any worse, they all may die at halftime from running suicides. And so I think it'll be a combination where, and we've mentioned this team appears to be coachable. They appear to be progressing game in, game out. And I think they'll take another step in the right direction and get a big win on the road in Iowa City on Tuesday. What about you, buddy?
Man, that's pretty bold. They're such a good team. Carolina's got to go on the road. You just dropped the game to Texas, a team that we can all look and see is not better than Iowa. I think Carolina is definitely going to keep it close. This is not a team that gives me the feel of someone that's going to get blown out in many games, if any games this season. I don't really see that happening. So I think it will be a close game. I got Iowa winning. I think Iowa wins probably somewhere 3 or 5 points. I think it really is going to come down to the end. But I think the biggest concern for me going into this game is the free throw shooting, because I know that this game's going to be physical inside, because that's where a lot of Iowa's success comes. I just really have a feeling that Carolina is still going to struggle from the foul line. That's something that is going to be tough to correct. We saw it be an issue last year. They never were really able to get it on track. Maybe this year is different, but it feels like when you're a bad free throw shooting team out of the gate, that's something that's tough to correct.
Yeah,
I got Iowa winning the game, but I still think that there are some things, even if you lose this game, that you can build off of going forward. This is probably your toughest test outside of maybe Duke later on your schedule. This is the best team that you will face outside of the Blue Devils. So I still think that if you lose this game, like you said, this is not something to really get down about. There's still some things that this team can build upon. So we'll ultimately just have to wait and see what the result is. I have Iowa winning, but you have Carolina in a close one. I think either way we can agree this is a game that is going to be a nail biter. It's not going to be one where, it's going to be decided early, good or bad. So make sure that you're ready to go for this one, because I think, we're going to have a really exciting game in Iowa City on Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that, we want Carolina to win. Right now, it's about getting better and preparing yourself for 20 straight games of the ACC slate. And this kind of game, and we'll prepare you for that. And hopefully you do enough things right to get a pretty big marquee win and give your young team some confidence. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Before we let you go, talk about the website, HeelToughBlog.com. Got a lot of content on the website for you guys. We're just coming off a football weekend with Carolina having senior day in Chapel Hill after a 49-9 win over Western Carolina. You can go to the website and get the recap, my trench report, and the stock report. And later this week on the Facebook page, you will have the recap podcast and the preview of Miami game. And, of course, Anthony will be getting you ready for Miami on Saturday. On the basketball side of things, we've got you covered as well. If you want to go back and get all the Maui content that myself and Mark wrote, you can check that out. And the Iowa game will have you covered with a preview and a recap. And if I'm not doing that, then I'll have my side article as well, Marlo's musings, that you can check that out on the HeelToughBlog.com. And lastly, we encourage you guys to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. You can find us on every major podcasting platform. Most of you are on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn, Pandora, Google Podcasts. You guys know the deal. Go give us a like. Give us a review to review me and Anthony and Mark as co-hosts of the podcast. But most importantly, we want you guys to subscribe. That way you get every new episode in your podcast feed. We usually do almost an episode a game. That's what we try to do with work and everything like that. It gets a little difficult sometimes, but last year we got in the habit of doing a preview and recap for every game. We're going to try to do that as much this year as well. So with that, thank Anthony for taking some time out of his NFL Sunday. We want to thank you guys for listening. And as always, go Tar Heels.